Okay, I've staked out this pole here as the very center of this little garden of mine. Here's the Hugel-bed I made last week. There are some pumpkins. Some of them are wilting, but I don't expect all of them to grow. There's my other pile. Point being, I have this handy-dandy pink rope with which, as you can see, it goes back to the pole in the center. And you see that line of stakes out there by those logs. If, and this is a big if I am ambitious enough, I'm going to pile up lots and lots of dead logs from all around here today and make the perimeter of this little garden. And if I can find enough material, eventually this will be a huge circular Hugel-bed with a little garden in the middle, a place to kind of sit down and relax and hide, I guess, surrounded by walls, and I think it could be nice. Of course, all the bums in the world might come here and destroy it or sleep here or whatever, but that's not really a worry of mine because they have other places they can stay. The deer will be less likely to get into the center if I build it up high enough. I need to get as much brush and as many logs as I can. As you can see in the distance there's a huge log laying down. There's a big tree that's fallen down over there by the river. There's all this brush and stuff where I've put my jacket to dry out. I've got big logs like this covered in moss here. All the way back as far as you can see, there's all kinds of washed in logs from floods and stuff. And it's like that everywhere in this forest because nobody ever clears this place. Starting with this stake here by the tree, I think I'm going to have the wall go maybe only as far as the tree itself and overlap about where my bag is. Maybe the overlap will come about to just past the tree. I'll try to cut that wall of wood inside the tree so the tree's on the outside edge. Still gets the benefits of the water and will still grow there. But as you can see here, I built a big wall of wood. My plan, of course, is to get it a bit higher and see those stakes sitting up there all the way around. This took me about, I don't know, an hour or so. It's right now waist height up to my waist where my belt is. I'd like to keep it at least that high all the way around and get as many big logs as I can and then start piling up smaller brush on top of it and sod and all of this dead stuff everywhere that's laying around. I'm going to collect as much of that as I can. Stuff out of the grass, pack it into these gaps, and eventually, maybe not today, eventually I'll start piling dirt on it. We'll see how far I get today. I'm going to try to take it easy because I need to not overwork myself and just keep myself healthy. So I'm going to sign off for now. Center pole. Here's the shovel I found out here metal detecting, and that's the whole reason I decided this was a place for my garden. This is a completely wild river bottom. The Vistula River is over there, just past that bank. This gets flooded from time to time. There's a chance it could be flooded this year and all this washed away, but that's why I hope I get some soil on top of these logs and allow some roots to start growing. Hopefully. I've been weaving it together pretty solid. I need to really pack it though with lots and lots of all this stuff and lots of branches, smaller branches in between all those holes. I don't want to have any gaps because when I put dirt on, I want to put as little as possible earth on top of this, so by filling in the gaps with other detriment and other decaying material, I can minimize the amount of soil I have to put on top of this. I've been seeing lots and lots of animals as far as insects and snails and all that kind of stuff. If I can find a couple snails, I'll let you see them. Let me see here. I've seen plenty, so it shouldn't be that hard, but maybe they all crawled into the shade by now. Here's a big hole that a woodpecker had chipped out of this. This was hanging from that tree up there, but I cut the branch that was holding it because the branch was dead and put both of them here in my pile. This is a pretty good piece of wood here. A lot of it's in even worse states of decay. This is pretty soft. I can scrape it with my fingernail. So it's in good condition for holding water, especially this high up in the pile. And if I can get about 2 or 3 really nice big logs like the one way back there and put them on top of this, it'd be the height I want it, but it's going to be a lot of work. So I'm just going to back away from this. Here's what it looks like from the outside. And from the ground level, it's pretty tall. It's 3.5, 4 feet tall. Well, I could go for 3.5. All right. I've been clearing a lot of brush that's been hanging down from trees like this, and of course the stuff laying underneath. You can see everywhere I've kind of ripped things up. It looks kind of tossed and turned here, and you can see the kind of path I've been making through here. I took a tree down right there in the middle of that little arch, left that one up, but the other one I cut off, actually 2 on the bottom I cut off, and I'll just lead you to my design. So you'll enter from this side. By the way, just to mention, these 2 logs were so heavy with water I can't move them by myself. And I do have a handsaw, but it's a small foot-long IKEA wood saw. And as you can imagine, it's kind of hard to cut through bigger pieces of cord log like this with a tiny little handsaw. So if they dry out in a couple days, I might be able to throw them someplace. Anyway, I will enter the little garden here. This of course will be covered in dirt in God knows how long. You enter here, come through to the inside, and this is what you see. You're mostly completely surrounded by wood because I haven't finished yet. So this wall here is going back to here. It will fit around this like I planned, and around the little Hugel garden I have in the middle. And when I finish, I hope this whole thing will be a big Hugel garden. One big circular Hugel garden. And yes, those are egg cartons down there, but they're going to decompose. I brought my pumpkins there with me today, and they're in that bed in the middle. So I've been working on it for 6 or 7 hours today. I think it's time for me to go home. So just thought I'd give you a look at the outside. From the outside here, if I start to walk out a little bit wider, you can see how much I've done here. And I'll take a little walk back here. So this is one day's work. I don't know how many tons of wet logs I've moved, but it's not a shy amount. Those are pretty heavy, most of them. Although I grant you a couple of those are pretty light because they're that really, really rotten stuff. But for example, the rest of those logs is very heavy, and most of the stuff on the very bottom is very, very heavy. So here I am. This goes up to, as you can see, here's my waistline with my Leatherman here. So it goes up to that height. And I might be able to get it a little bit higher, but I have to go further and further for wood, of course, and get larger and larger, heavier pieces if I stay in this area. So I have to stay in the area. I have no choice. Here's a little place I need to, maybe not, that might make a good garden right there because of the way it faces that angle. So I guess I'll try to cover it, but it seems like a lot of that log comes out a bit too far on that side, but don't really know how to go about fixing that without taking the whole thing apart. Alright, so I'm going to sign off for the day. Probably going to come back here tomorrow and work on it more.